To fully understand Georgia, its history, government, and economics, you first have to understand, well, where is Georgia in relation to the world as a whole? Now, first, let's look at what country, continent, and region Georgia is a part of. The country Georgia is part of, you guessed it, the United States of America. That is our country. And the world is made up of 7 continents. You probably learned that in elementary school. The United States of America, of course, and thus Georgia is part of the continent of North America. Here, it might be helpful to remind you that we have 4 cardinal directions. You know them: north, south, east, and west. And if you're looking at a compass, you can always remember their order by saying, never eat slimy worms, or whatever they taught you in elementary school. Now, globally, Earth is divided into 4 hemispheres named after those cardinal directions. We have the northern, the southern, the eastern, and the western. And to make these hemispheres, the world is divided by 2 imaginary but very important lines: the equator and the prime meridian. Now, the equator divides the globe into the northern and southern hemispheres. It runs like this. It is at 0 degrees latitude. The prime meridian divides the country into the eastern and western hemispheres. It is at 0 degrees longitude, and it runs north to south. So while the prime meridian and the equator are the most important lines of latitude and longitude, world maps are divided into many other lines of latitude and longitude. All latitude lines, like the equator, run east to west. And if we need to remember the difference between latitude lines and longitude lines, I always like to think of latitude lines as laying down. They both start with that letters LA, latitude and laying down. And then longitude lines run north to south. And I remember longitude lines because they try to be as long as possible. So they stand straight up. Where lines of latitude and longitude meet on a map is what's called an absolute location. Now, Georgia's absolute location, the exact center of Georgia, is at 32.2478 degrees north and 83.44 degrees west longitude. And as I mentioned earlier, if we take the Earth and draw the prime meridian and the equator, we end up with 4 hemispheres. And those hemispheres are northwest, northeast, southwest, and southeast. Now, the United States, and thus Georgia, is in the northwestern hemisphere, as it is north of the equator and west of the prime meridian. The United States is also, not just the world, but the United States is divided into sections called regions of their own. And if we use our cardinal directions again and divide the United States into 4 parts, we can see that Georgia is in the southeast. And if you're a football fan, I always remember this because the University of Georgia plays in the SEC, or Southeast Conference. Georgia's location is central to both its history and its economic prosperity, as it offers mild weather compared to other countries that are either close to the equator, where it's very warm, or far from it, where it's very cold. And understanding Georgia's location will be central to understanding its history as we continue to learn about this very important state.